Was Cave Johnson a good boss? In order to figure this out, I'm going to look over the dialogue that he has in Portal 2 and use this as a guide for his character. I'm only going to be using the ones in the main campaign of Portal 2, so don't expect to see any of the alternative caves or unused dialogue. We are only using the ones that you will hear in the game. With that out of the way, let's dive in. We're starting off with this line.
Welcome, gentlemen, to Aperture Science. Astronauts, war heroes, Olympians, you're here because we want the best. And you are it. So, who is ready to make some science?
Alright, we're off to a great start. He honestly doesn't sound too bad here. This alone would draw in a bunch of people to see what Cave here has to offer. Let's see if he keeps up this momentum. Next line is this.
Now, you already met one another on the limo ride over, so let me introduce myself. I'm Cave Johnson. I own the place.
Huh, limos to your workplace. That doesn't sound too bad at all. However, I will admit, we do have to make some assumptions here. We don't know if he actually did this, or if he's just boasting to the new recruits that this happened. But if he really did give people a limo ride over, then I see no problems with it. On to our next line of dialogue.
That eager voice you heard is the lovely Carolyn, my assistant. Rest assured, she has transferred your honorarium to the charitable organization of your choice. Isn't that right, Carolyn?
Right, so this one will require you to hear Carolyn's dialogue, but since this is a video focused on Cave, I won't be playing her dialogue here. Still, even without her dialogue, Cave is doing a great job sounding like a good boss to work for. Still no problems so far. Here's the next line.
She's the backbone of this facility. Pretty as a postcard, too. Sorry, fellas, she's married. To science.
A nice compliment from your boss right there. I also liked how Cave trolled some of the men with the whole "she's married" part. No clue if that was intentional or not. Anyway, still no problems here. Moving on. Here it is.
There's 1,000 tests performed every day here in our enrichment spheres. I can't personally oversee every one of them, so these pre-recorded messages will cover any questions you might have and respond to any incidents that may occur in the course of your science adventure.
This one seems reasonable to me. If I had that many tests going on every day, I would also want to set up a system like that. Although, I do have to ask, what kinds of incidents could occur during this work? Let's see if there's any other lines that make mentions of these incidents. As for the dialogue that he says here, again, I don't see any faults with it. Here's our next line.
Your test assignment will vary depending on the manner in which you have bent the world to your will.
I have no idea what this means, but it does sound encouraging, so I'll take that as a win, in terms of Cave being a good boss, and move on. Next line.
Those of you helping us test the repulsion gel today, just follow the blue line on the floor.
Not too much to say about this one, other than it's nice to have him help people where they need to go. Here's the next line.
Those of you who volunteered to be injected with praying mantis DNA, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is we're postponing those tests indefinitely. Good news is we've got a much better test for you. Fighting an army of mantis men. Pick up a rifle and follow the yellow line. You'll know when the test starts.
Okay, I have several questions. 1. Did they actually create mantis men? 2. Is that the reason why they stopped injecting people with praying mantis DNA? 3. I'm pretty sure that is not how biology works, so how on earth did they achieve this? If you guys have any potential answers to these questions, let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'm not sure how to use this line in particular to judge if Cave is a good boss or not. I will leave this one to your own interpretation. Now, next line.
They say great science is built on the shoulders of giants. Not here. At Aperture, we do all our science from scratch. No hand-holding.
So, what does this mean exactly? Is it saying that you won't receive any help here? Or is it saying that they didn't copy from anyone else? Or get inspiration from them? I'm not too sure, but Cave sounds very confident here, and maybe this could be encouraging for some people. So, I will say that this is Cave being a good boss. We are now moving on to the dialogue Cave says in 1953. Here's our first line of dialogue.
All right, let's get started. This first test involves something the lab boys call repulsion gel. You're not part of the control group, by the way. You get the gel. Last poor son of a gun got blue paint. All joking aside, that did happen. Broke every bone in his legs. Tragic, but informative. Or so I'm told.
Okay, what? They let someone jump from that height onto what he thought was repulsion gel and he broke his legs? Again, we do have to make some assumptions on why they would do this, but still, this is very cruel. Therefore, this tilts Cave in the direction of a bad boss. Let's see if this is about to get any worse. Next line.
The lab boys just informed me that I should not have mentioned the control group. They're telling me I ought to stop making these pre-recorded messages. That gave me an idea. Make more pre-recorded messages. I pay the bills here, I can talk about the control group all damn day.
I'm not too sure how to feel about this one. On one side, I understand where the lab boys are coming from, but I also understand that Cave is the boss here. Therefore, he can do what he wants. Still though, if the smart people are saying that you shouldn't do something, and you still do it anyway, then there's something wrong with you. On to our next line.
For this next test, we put nanoparticles in the gel. In layman's terms, that's a billion little gizmos that are going to travel into your bloodstream and pump experimental genes and RNA molecules and so forth into your tumors. Now, maybe you don't have any tumors. Well, don't worry. If you sat on a folding chair in the lobby and weren't wearing lead underpants, we took care of that too.
I have no idea where to even start with this one. I will say this though, having something being put into you without your consent is not good. Therefore, this definitely pushes Cave into the bad boss territory a little bit more. Moving on now, next line.
Oh, in case you got covered in that repulsion gel, here's some advice the lab boys gave me. Do not get covered in the repulsion gel. We haven't entirely nailed down what element it is yet, but I'll tell you this, it's a lively one, and it does not like the human skeleton.
So, did Cave not read the advice the lab boys gave him before reading it out loud? Did he just assume that it was some advice and roll with it? Because what he said right there was not advice. It was a warning. On to our next line, which takes place in 1957.
All these science spheres are made of asbestos, by the way. Keeps out the rats. Let us know if you feel a shortness of breath, a persistent dry cough, or your heart stopping, because that's not part of the test. That's asbestos.
Well, that's concerning as hell. Asbestos is no joke, and definitely should not have been used in anything, especially as something as big as spheres. So yeah, definitely a bad boss for choosing asbestos, even if it does help keep the rats out. Here's our next line.
Good news is the lab boys say the symptoms of asbestos poisoning show a median latency of 44.6 years. So if you're 30 or older, you're laughing. Worst case scenario, you miss out on a few rounds of canasta. Plus, you forwarded the cause of science by 3 centuries. I punch those numbers into my calculator, it makes a happy face.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to handle this one. I'll let you guys figure it out in the comments. Next line.
Ha! I like your style. You make up your own rules, just like me. Bean Counter said I couldn't fire a man just for being in a wheelchair. Did it anyway. Ramps are expensive.
Okay, first off, that was rude as hell. Second, I'll give him points for the compliment. Still though, that compliment alone cannot repair the cracks that are showing in his facade. Cave right here is being evil, all for the sake of saving a few bucks. Let's see if this gets any worse, shall we? Here's the next line.
Just a heads up, that coffee we gave you earlier had fluorescent calcium in it so we can track the neuronal activity in your brain. There's a slight chance the calcium could harden and vitrify your frontal lobe. Anyway, don't stress yourself thinking about it. I'm serious. Visualizing the scenario while under stress actually triggers the reaction.
Well, that's horrifying. Do you know how hard it is to get your brain to stop thinking about something sometimes? If you know, you know. Anyway, Cave is definitely becoming more of a bad boss as we go through these lines. Speaking of which, here's the next one in 1958.
Now, if you're part of control group Kepler-7, we implanted a tiny microchip about the size of a postcard into your skull. Most likely you've forgotten it's even there. But if it starts vibrating and beeping during this next test, let us know, because that means it's about to hit 500 degrees, so we're going to need to go ahead and get that out of you pretty fast.
No, just no. Why on earth would you do that? And for what purpose? He never brings this up again, just like how he hasn't mentioned any of the incidents that could occur during your science adventure. So this is becoming very concerning, and I no longer want to be in the same building as this man. Next line.
I'm telling them, keep your pants on. All right, this next test may involve trace amounts of time travel. So, word of advice, if you meet yourself on the testing track, don't make eye contact. Lab boys tell me that'll wipe out time. Entirely. Forward and backward. So, do both of yourselves a favor and just let that handsome devil go about his business.
Huh, this one is rather tame, considering what we've heard so far. This just pushed Cave a little bit back into the good boss side, but not by much. Anyway, on to our next line of dialogue, which is this.
If you're hearing this, it means you're taking a long time on the catwalks between tests. The lab boys say that might be a fear reaction.
Alright, I'm not liking where this is going, but let's hear the rest of it.
I'm no psychiatrist, but coming from a bunch of eggheads who wouldn't recognize the thrill of danger if it walked up and snapped their little pink bras, that sounds like projection.
Okay, it's getting a little worse, but we're at the final stretch now. Let's see if he improves or not.
They didn't fly into space, storm a beach, or bring back the gold. No, sir, we did. It's you and me against the world, son. I like your grit. Hustle could use some work, though. Now let's solve this thing.
Right, so it is encouraging to some degrees, but it's also dismissive and insulting. That gets a neutral point from me. Not good, but not bad either. Next line.
Science isn't about why, it's about why not. Why is so much of our science dangerous? Why not marry safe science if you love it so much? In fact, why not invent a special safety door that won't hit you on the butt on the way out because you are fired? Now you, test subject, you're doing fine. Yes, you. Box your stuff. Out the front door. Parking lot. Car. Goodbye.
I'm going to give this little rant a neutral stance. Again, he is both nice here, but he's also cruel. That's why I can't say if he's good or bad here. Unfortunately, I must end the video here, as it's gone on long enough. But don't you worry, part 2 of this video will be coming out eventually. There, I will cover the rest of Cave's dialogue. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.